A lot of you are in the crumble right now. So the crumble can also be called the dark night of the soul, um, a spiritual awakening. It can be called many things, but essentially what it is pieces of your life start to crumble and fall apart. And the reason they're crumbling and falling apart is because they're built on a very shaky foundation, a poorly built foundation. And the foundation is your emotional and spiritual health. And those foundations were typically built 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago from your childhood. And we weren't given the tools, we didn't have the knowledge, we didn't have the awareness that we were building on a really shaky foundation, right? Because most of us hadn't awoken, most of us hadn't done a lot of soul searching and a lot of learning and creating a lot of awareness. And we didn't even know what ascension was. We didn't know so much about the ego at that time. We didn't know about limiting beliefs. So what a lot of you are going through right now is this crumbling of the foundation and feeling like pieces of your life or your whole life are literally crashing and burning and falling to the ground. And when that happens, you can be left feeling very vulnerable. You can be left feeling like you don't know who you are. You can be left feeling like your whole life has been a mistake. A lot of really dense, heavy emotions are going to come up. This is not a bad thing. Can be excruciatingly painful, but it is not a bad thing, because what you're feeling is all the density that it was essentially creating holes and weak spots in your foundation. All the dense energy, all the programming, all the false belief systems, they're all showing their face now that everything is falling down. So the most important thing I can tell you is to be ultra compassionate with yourself if you feel like you're in a crumble. And oftentimes what you feel like you're losing could be a job, a relationship, could be a financial status, a home. Whatever you feel like you're losing is actually creating space for something even greater and something even bigger and something even better. What you're doing is like a full gut and renovation of your house, right? You're taking out all the old wallpaper, all the nasty carpet, all the dust and debris and the junk, and you may be starting completely from scratch and building a new foundation, or maybe you have a structure and now you've got to do finishing work. So the structure of your home is understanding spiritual principles like manifestation, law of attraction, co-creating, 3D versus 4D versus 5D reality. Are we body, are we mind, or are we spirit in physical form? All the books that you've read, the intuitive hits that you get, the angel cards oracle cards that you read, all of those things are the structure that are giving you raw tools to rebuild your life. So when you find yourself in this space where you're in the crumble and you feel like, shit, I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't even know what this life I've built is. Realize that you've got a lot of tools and that you wouldn't be in the crumble if you weren't ready for it. The crumble is an awakening process, the dark night of the soul, right? All of the dense emotions are coming up and it's making you question everything. And that is a really powerful place to be. Again, it can be so painful and so raw, and you may need to cry and cry and cry and cry and cry some more, but that is perfectly normal, and that is a part of the process of purging the density that is coming up for healing. So know that you're ready for it, know you have the tools, know you can get through it, and make sure you're reaching out for some kind of support, right? Whether that's through a session or a close loved one, or sometimes it's even just friends you've made via social media or the internet who have similar interests and similar mindset as you. And then the big piece is to do a lot of self-awareness work. What emotions are coming up? Write them all out. Where do those emotions come from? Where have you felt these emotions before? Have they always been there lingering and you've been maybe avoiding them? Is there some sort of trauma in your past that really triggered these feelings and now they're coming up for deeper levels of healing? Get cozy, get friendly, get acquainted with the negative stuff that's coming up. This is the shadow work, right? These negative emotions, these fears, these anxieties, these feelings of not knowingness, that's all unintegrated parts of our shadow. Sort of the denser, I don't even want to call it darker side of us, because it's not bad. It's just a polarity that exists within us. And in order for us to come to either a higher source of light, or to find some middle ground where we can rest more steadily rather than riding up and down on the waves all the time, you can find it kind of just be like, I think I'll just coast in the middle, right? Instead of going high and low all the time. Get familiar with them, get cozy with them, journal about them, talk to them. Don't be afraid of them. And most importantly, do not judge any of the things that come up, because the whole purpose of this density that's coming forward is so that it can be finally felt, processed, and released. You're meant to move through this and not repeat another cycle. So if you go into this process very consciously and with a ton of self-compassion, and knowing deep in your heart that you did not do anything wrong, that none of this is your fault, but you now have a choice. You have a choice to avoid these emotions and repeat the patterns, or you have a choice to dive into them and integrate them as a part of you that you can love and accept, and then they release their control, and what you actually do is turn that darkness into light. You shine a light on it, it loses its power, it loses its density, and it integrates as a part of a higher version of yourself. And when you integrate those lower densities that are a part of your energy field, you actually are feeding into the light. So what you actually doing are raising your vibration. So you're raising your vibration by releasing the lower density stuff, but what you're actually doing is creating more light, so that you're going higher on the vibrational scale, so that you can receive more love, you can get closer to enlightenment, you can experience more freedom and joy and positivity in your life. So the crumble is a real thing. I've been there lots of times. But I can promise you, if you go into it with a sense of consciousness, it is taking you to a better place. And so don't fear it. Don't create more guilt and shame and spiral down into the negative. Use your ability to kind of step outside of yourself and witness those emotions from a higher perspective, and then you can start to work with them, play with them, I don't know, move them around, squish them, touch them, feel them, see them, know them, and then integrate them into a higher energy form. So, so many people are sort of grieving losses in their lives. Again, loved ones, relationships, homes, jobs, money, whatever you feel like you're grieving, sense of self, that is a good thing. Pain is the biggest driver of our growth. If things weren't painful, we would just stay right where we are, right? Why would we move? So if you're experiencing this pain, it's okay, it's good. It's moving you into your next level. It's pushing you into your next phase of healing. It's helping you to integrate new information and step into the next version of yourself. So if you can start to accept where you are and surrender to the process of healing, that is going to help you to move through it more gracefully. And get support. Really get support. That's so huge in this. And so again, whether that's through a session, a therapist, a tarot card reading, going to your own angel cards, talking to a loved one, make sure you're getting some support along the way, because a lot of people are going through this. So I hope this serves you. If you are going through a tough, painful period right now, just know it is serving a purpose. It is serving your highest good. You are going to get through it. You are going to look back on this with gratitude, and you are going to evolve as a person in human form and as a soul from doing this work. So hang in there, guys. The energy is intense right now.